once again after technical difficulties our last live stream. Go ahead and try to launch this. Make sure my map still runs, and then we'll add in some fun stuff. All right. We're already working. I've got one door here already that I've got set up. I've got this set on look. It glows. Otherwise, it doesn't do the cool glowy thing when you interact with it like the rest of the destination props. So I'm going to back myself out. Here we go. If I interact with the door, it opens, rotates out, and reveals our panels. And then if I hit it again, the door will close back to its original position. All right. We're going to go over this area over here and just add in some doors and brushes and see how they're set up. Minimize and kill. All right. So in Camera, our editor for Source 2, the thing we need to put triggers on is what we need. And so we need to create a brush or a block. So I'm going to come over here, hit the block tool, turn that on. Whatever active material you've got is the block you're going to get. So I can change this. I'm going to browse over here. I'll just look up, I don't know, wood. See what we got. I've got a wall banner, wooden door, small table wood. A lot of these are the same. So use this. And so now any blocks that I make are going to have that default active material on. So come in here and I'll just make something. So we're 14 wide. We can fix all this later. Just make something and pull it up. Now, until you hit enter, your brush is not, or your block is not done. So I can still interact with this and make this a little more door shaped. So I'm going to actually try and do some real door sizes. We'll do 80, 10 thick is too much. 40 wide is a nice wide door. I'll pan around here. And I can fix this width. And so you can see the measurements there on your model. So 4, 2 is fine. That's a good door. All right, so if I just wanted to use this brush as a door, or this block as a door, I'm good to go. Texturing, it's got some texture on it. Good luck with the rest. The final thing to do, I'm going to hit enter and finish creating this, is I need to move the pivot of this. If I was to make this a rotating door, which I think I will to start with, so I'm going to go ahead and hit this button here, and we're going to move the pivot over. So we're going to see some distance down here that tells us how far we're moving, and we already know that we have a 40 wide door. So I'm just going to pull this way. There it is, green length down there at the bottom, 16, 20. So, right, so I know I'm all the way over. Good with that. And so now if I try to move that or even rotate that, it's going to rotate on that pivot. So next thing to do is to set the origin to that pivot, and we should be good to go. That all works. All right, now why we need this type of thing. This is the only type of object that'll take triggers. At least I can't put triggers on an actual mesh. So with this selected, I'm going to hit Control T. Now I've added trigger multiple here. Change this to a trigger. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull this down, and we're going to choose Funk. We want a Funk Rot button. So scroll, there it is. That rotates. And so this is this acts as a button now, and when we interact with it, it'll rotate. So there's a few more things to set up here in the properties. So it moves at a speed of 50, which is good. Makes a squeaky sound, perfect. really all that's fine. What we need to set up is the spawn flags. So down here, expand that out. We need to turn on toggle so that this turns one way and then stops, and then when we hit it again, it'll rotate back the other way. Otherwise, it'll rotate out however many degrees and then just rotate right back. So this door will stay open until we tell it to close. And then finally, we need to turn on use activates. So when we hit it with our VR controller or a hand, that'll work. So I'm going to go ahead and save this. F9 again. And back in. Okay, so our door over there, wander over to it. I didn't turn on any glowing yet, but if I reach out and click, it's going to rotate. Now, it didn't seem to take our pivot, that didn't make, but it at least rotates by 90 degrees like we wanted it to, and we can fix that pivot. If the pivot won't move for you, the other thing you can do is just edit the mesh, and we can move all of the geometry over to match where our pivot's at. So our pivot's right in the center right now, so we can either try to reset the pivot the way I showed earlier, or just move the parts of the mesh. But that rotates. You can rotate as far as many degrees as you want. I put in, and it defaulted at 90, so that's where we're at. And we can mess with that pivot, or I think what we'll do is we'll try to fix that, and then we'll also add another just to show a sliding door. Yeah, I don't know what happened here. With that selected, origin to pivot, pivot moved itself back. All right, pull it all the way over again. Green length 20, set origin to pivot. Okay, I'll bet what happened is when I changed this from a block to a trigger, that just reset it. So I just needed to set it back. So that'll work now. I'm going to go ahead and create another block. We use the same wood. Now I'm going to make this one different. So we're going to go ahead and we'll just use this. Same thing over here. We'll go ahead and just start creating the block. Zoom in on it some and pull it up. And then squint a whole lot, trying to figure this out. We'll leave it at 6 thick, since this is a big sliding thing. Go to our standard-ish 80 high, and we're 48 wide. Why not? All right, 48's good. That's 4 feet. Since these are inches here in Hammerville. Okay, so okay, just want to make sure that finished creating. All right, yeah, I hadn't hit enter, and so I was trying to create more stuff. Okay, so we got a brush or a block. Looks good. Since we're just sliding this, I don't need to change the origin. And I'm going to do the same thing. Hit Control T to turn this into a trigger. And then this one now defaults to trigger multiple. I'm going to slide over to Funk and then just button. Now, here, it already tells us, right, it's picked a direction. This is at 0, 0, 0. If I hit this button, it's going to move back. And it'll usually move back the dimensions of the object. So right now this guy is, what would we say, 6 thick? So it would move back by 6 inches. So if you just wanted the panel to push in a little bit, that would work. What we're going to do is I'm going to scroll down here on the properties of my function button, which is what this is now. You can see the speed. These move slower for whatever reason. This defaults to 5. I'm going to go ahead and at least put that at 25. And this move direction, everything's clipped off here, but it's pitch, yaw, and roll. You can adjust all these. So if I just set this to 90 on the Y, You see it would now slide that away. Now this will slide now this way. It should slide the full 48. Or we can come down, if I can find the right deal here. Speed, flow entity, lip. That actually says lip. I'm so glad at least the hover works. So pull that up some. Scroll some more. We can see that text. Lip. So the amount in inches that the button will leave sticking out of the wall if it recedes when pressed. So imagine it's a button and it's going into the thing. Negative values make the button recede even further. So we're 48 wide. If I hit the button with a lip of 0, it's going to move 48. If I add a lip of 24, take half of that down, we're only going to move 24 inches. If I give it a negative lip, right, and say negative 48, then we're going to move twice our width, and whatever that is, 96. So we're going to move a full 8 feet over with that lip. So I'm just going to leave that lip at 0 for now, just to see what that's like. And let me scroll down here and just make sure that my spawn flags are also set up properly. Again, if I don't turn toggle on, this will move and then move right back. So I'm going to go ahead and turn toggle on here. And I think this one defaults to use activates, so this one's good to go. Save this and F9 again to launch this and build it. All right. Just going to use my thumbstick this time to turn around and face this way. Okay. Coming over. There's our door. Now moving on the reset pivot. And come up here, and if I hit this guy, he moves his full length. Here's something fun I'm going to do. I'm going to come over here. I'm just going to grab this little candle holder. I'm just going to use this to measure my environment. Just set that right there. Make sure. Okay. That's what I'm talking about. So it's going to move the full width back. Yeah, so perfectly. So it moves the width of the button in the direction. This would be great for elevator doors. You could have them slide, just a sliding door. Passages, right? I'm thinking about maybe knocking a hole in this wall here and having this be a bookcase that just slides over and reveals a hole to a new area. So that's brushes. You can use them as is, or what I've done over here with, rotate over. What I've done over here with this guy is I've got a brush inside that door or a block like that is, and then you can peek in. You can see this is the top of it right there. So that's inside the door, and the door itself is a child of that brush. And so when I reach in, I hit the block, and that triggers it, and the door follows with it. So you can use a mesh. You just need to embed your block or your button, your trigger inside of it, and it'll all work fine. The other thing I did with this, as I said, was I have that object, the child that is the door mesh, is set as a prop destination physics. And so it doesn't do this, light up when my hand's in it, but I do have it set to glow on look. And so when it's right in the center of my view, then it has that little glow, and I was able to change the color of that. And that just tells us that that's interactive, because otherwise, like these guys over here, I don't know that I can do anything with them in VR until I try it. So that little glow just kind of gives us a hint. And so if you've got a child mesh, that works out when you stare directly at it. So at least gives us a hint about what's interactable in our environment. All right. Those are doors, opening, sliding, rotating. Good luck.